And, the question is, how are we supposed to be looking anyway at the Holocaust today, 80 years later, when we saw what happened on October 7th? And I thought that Prime Minister Netanyahu, he gave a stunning speech at Yad Vashem yesterday, and I did a translation of an excerpt of that speech that I want to play for you, where Prime Minister Netanyahu talks about, the way that we're being slandered and why it is that these slanders are believed. And I want you to just watch for a second this clip of the speech that he gave last night.
אנו נאבקים בחזית כפולה. ראשית, במשטר הקנאי באיראן ובשלוחות הטרור שלו שחותרים בגלוי להשמידנו. שנית, בהתפרצות הר הגעש האנטישמי שיורק לבה רותחת של שקרים נגדנו ברחבי העולם. צריך לומר בפשטות, האנטישמיות שהייתה חבויה במדינות המערב מאז השואה חוזרת במלוא כיעורה. כמו בימים עברו, האשמות השקריות אינן מופנות כלפינו בגלל דברים שאנחנו עושים, אלא בגלל עצם העובדה שאנחנו קיימים. אבל לצערי, רבים בעולם מאמינים לשקרים הללו, והם מאמינים להם רק בגלל סיבה אחת, כי אנחנו יהודים. איזו פשיטת רגל מוסרית. השקר הפך לאמת, האמת הפכה לשקר, ועל כך כבר אמר הנביא ישעיהו, הוי האומרים לרע טוב ולטוב רע. 80 years ago, in the Holocaust, the Jewish people were totally defenseless against those who sought our destruction. No nation came to our aid. Today, we again confront enemies bent on our destruction. I say to the leaders of the world, no amount of pressure, no decision by any international forum will stop Israel from defending itself. As the Prime Minister of Israel, the one and only Jewish state, I pledge here today from Jerusalem on this Holocaust Remembrance Day, if Israel is forced to stand alone, Israel will stand alone. But we know we're not alone, because countless decent people around the world support our just cause.
Because anti-Semitism that was kept in abeyance for 80 years in the West is back. It's roared back to life. And it is the life force behind almost everything that we're seeing in relation to Israel and the Palestinians today. It's an incredibly horrible situation, but it is the situation. And so just as 80 years ago, all the nations of the world were pretty much agreed that Hitler had a good idea there to kill all of the Jews. So today you have a basic unanimity of opinion led by the United States with all the nations on earth behind it, saying, yeah, it's fine. Let's protect Hamas. Let's empower Iran. Let's make Iran the regional hegemon so that we can reach a balance of power. Let's weaken Israel. Let's weaken the UAE. Let's weaken Saudi Arabia. Let's not allow them to retaliate against Iran for attacks on their territory. And you want to know what? It's very clear is Israeli heroism. And I'm just going to give you, I'll leave you with a couple of pictures in your head, right? The quintessentially Israeli thing, right, are our reserve soldiers and their families. It's young families. It's young moms with little kids, right, who drive their husbands to the base to be called up for battle where the entire international community is going to try to demonize him and his comrades and their commanders and the government of Israel, right, for carrying out a necessary battle required for our defense and survival, right? And she brings him there with their little kids in the back seat sleeping, okay? That's quintessentially Israeli. That's heroism. That's her heroism. That's his heroism. That's the heroism of families. And you have other heroism. You have the heroism of the bereaved parents of soldiers who have been killed in this war, who left home, who aren't even giving themselves the chance to grieve for their sons. And they went to Jerusalem, and they erected a tent across from the prime minister's office. And they've been there now for over a week, and they declared a hunger strike. They were going to go on a hunger strike until the army went into Rafah. And they said they're not going to leave without victory. Their demand is that their sons didn't die for nothing, that the government keep its commitment to defeat Hamas. That's what it means to be Israeli. What it means to be Israeli is to be the prime minister of Israel and stand up to the entire international community, because that's the job of the prime minister of Israel. There is no other job, because I know there are hundreds of millions of people. And we don't feel lonely, but in this international community right now, we are alone. So I am so thankful that the Jews are not in the same circumstances we were in 80 years ago, and that we're an incredibly heroic people. And thankfully, we're led by Netanyahu right now, who's heroic in his leadership. And we'll go forward, and we'll fight, and we'll win against all odds. And we'll celebrate Independence Day after we mourn our dead on Memorial Day next week. And I will see you then. So take care, and keep the faith, and keep supporting us. Take care.